Laura Wilson from Gold Star Work here. Today I thought we might have some fun in day 17 of building our daily painting habit. And I was watching Angela Anderson on YouTube last night, and she was doing her cotton swab blossom flowers. Now, about a year ago I took a photo of down in our memorial gardens with the dark stems and the little tiny blossom flowers coming out. And at the time I did take a photo of those blossom trees, but it was over a year ago, and when I was cleaning out my camera I thought, oh, I haven't painted that one yet, I may as well just get rid of it, so I deleted it, and of course now I want to paint it. So I'm going to have to work a bit from memory of what I saw and what I wanted to say with that painting, as well as grabbing some reference of some different blossoms around the place to give me an idea of how to paint them. And we're going to use the cotton swabs and have some fun, so let's go get painting. Day 17's daily painting habit. I'm using Angela Anderson's tutorial on doing spring blossoms with the cotton swab as my inspiration. And as I said before, I had actually taken a photo of some spring blossoms that I wanted to paint, and I hadn't decided how I was gonna do that. So this painting tutorial that I watched of Angela's inspired me to try it out, and I thought, oh, that might make an interesting way of doing that painting. And I am starting off the same way as she did, with using my yellow ochre and painting all over my canvas. This is going to be a fun little painting after quite intensive painting over the last 2 days. I wanted to do something a bit more fun and quick and just have a little play rather than getting too bogged down with details. Now, I have actually done some painting this morning already, because when I took my autumn leaf picture home yesterday, I wasn't as happy with it in different lighting. Some of the leaves were just sinking too far into the background and not really doing much for me, so I decided to redo that. So I've done a little bit more on that this morning already, and then I thought I'd better get on and do my daily painting habit video. And I didn't want to do that as my daily painting habit because I didn't want to bore you with too much of that. Now, this is where I'm doing my background a little bit differently from Angela. She used a piece of cardboard and she was just swiping straight down, but I decided I didn't actually want to do that, and I wanted a bit more movement in my picture. So I'm just using a brush and I'm just putting it on, and I didn't wait for the underneath to dry either. I'm just putting it on straight over the top of the wet paint. Just adding a bit of the purple in there. Now in this one I'm going to have my centre of interest around here, and because they're going to be light flowers, I want this area to be a little darker. First of all, I'm going to get quite a stiff bristle brush. And then I'm going to get my mop brush, which is very, very soft, and with a really light pressure, I'm just going to smooth out some of those brush strokes. And kind of blur them out. Oh, a little funny bit of paint in there that I'll just take out. Because I don't want the texture in that background to compete with my nice blossoms. So I'm just smoothing that out, and I'm wiping the excess paint off my mop brush because I'm not trying to paint with this. I'm just trying to smooth some of the brush strokes out and blur it out a bit. And what I'm also going to do is I've got a little spray bottle here, and it's just got some acrylic paint and some water in it, and I'm just going to do a bit of spraying with the white paint. And I've got a little bit of blue here, hopefully that'll work, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that over there, and a few little dots of white splattered on. And I'm going to get my mop brush again, and I'm just going to blur that out again. I'm going to splatter a little bit more white on there. And it's just got a little bit of the turquoise in it. And it's just going to kind of suggest some of those background blossoms. So now I need this to dry before I do the next bit. I'm going to put my branches in, and I've got just a palette knife. I think she used the cardboard for this as well. I'm going to use a palette knife. And I've just mixed a mixture of burnt umber, and a bit of ultramarine blue. And I don't mind if the branches sort of are fading in and out. So now I'm going to start using my little cotton swabs. Now I've mixed up some dark seen purple with some white, and I'm doing the background flowers just like Angela did in her one. Now I have thought about my composition here, and I've done these branches going up out of the picture, and these ones are a bit lower, and some of these are coming in, and my main centre of interest is going to be around here. When Angela did hers, she didn't have a main centre of interest that I could see, but I wanted to have a bit more focus on a certain area of the painting where it's going to be lighter and more detailed. Because that's what I like to do. I like to have quite freestyle kind of backgrounds and then get quite detailed at the end, because that's just how I like to paint. You may have noticed. So now I'm going to use, I've got ultramarine blue and white, and I put a tiny bit of purple in it. Watch any YouTube videos about painting theory or anything last night, because I watched this one instead, but because my brain felt quite full of information, and I was thinking quite a lot about my autumn leaf painting and what I wanted to achieve with that, and thinking about that whole centre of interest thing and using cool shadows and light darks or vice versa, and how that all works, and realising I didn't really have that in my head properly. And I talked about this in my earlier blog, and how when I went and looked it up on YouTube, I think it was on Day 9 blog that I talked about this, and when I went and looked it up on YouTube, they had a whole lot of information that contradicted each other, so that wasn't terribly helpful. Some of them were saying, yes, you should do it, and others were saying, no, this is not how nature works, and so it wasn't particularly helpful. And I can see some colour studies and things coming up in my future, trying to sort that out. And now I've just mixed up a little bit of that peachy colour. I think she used unbleached titanium. I haven't been able to find any unbleached titanium here, so I've just used a bit of red and yellow and a tiny bit of the blue. So I'm using pyrrole red and cadmium yellow medium and a bit of the ultramarine blue and white, and so I've just mixed a kind of peachy colour. I made it a bit brighter than what she would have been using, because with my duller background I wanted a little bit of brighter colour in there. So I've used this same colour that I've used in the background there, but I've just lightened it up a bit with a bit of the burnt umber and a little bit of white. And I'm using a little script liner, this is a number 2, to do a few more branches. So when you're doing a particular tree, I think it's really good to actually have a look at a picture or use a real example of a tree to look at how the branches go, because different trees the branches go in different ways. So some of them will be more symmetrical with the way the branches go, and some of them will be more asymmetrical. So what I mean by that is, like on this particular tree, the branches don't come out on opposite sides of each other. They kind of step up from each other. So instead of doing one branch here and then one branch here, I'm doing them one here and then one here on that side, because that's how the tree goes in my picture. So when you're doing tutorials and things, I think it's a good idea to put your own spin on it. Like when you watch a tutorial and think, oh, that's a good idea. Don't just follow exactly what they're doing. Let it inspire you for your own painting. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm not following her painting exactly. I'm putting my own spin on what I wanted to do. And I think you'll get a lot more satisfaction out of that, because it feels more like your own original artwork than just copying someone else's. Got my cotton bud again, and I'm just using ultramarine blue and white at the moment. So I'm going to put in some of those background flowers for the main lot. Just use my tinting white on its own, and this is where you want to think about your flower shapes. I'm actually going to get some of the turquoise that I used in here, and I'm going to use some of that as well. Now I'm getting quite bunched up at the top of my flowers, so it's not kind of getting that eerie kind of feel, because I've sort of made little round tops on them. So I'm going to attempt to do something about that. So So now instead of using my tinting white, I'm going to use my straight titanium white, and I'm actually going to use a brush because I want my main flowers to be bigger than my other ones, and I'm going to be ending up fighting that cotton bud to get these flowers bigger, so I'm going to use a brush for these. I'm just using some of that blue to shape the flowers a little bit. And you'll notice I didn't do a lot of those white flowers because I'm just trying to give an overall impression and then focus your eye into this bit. So I didn't want to put those white flowers all over the picture. Now I've mixed a little bit of my yellow with a bit of white to do some little highlighty bits on the flowers. Now I'm not trying to be really precise because that wouldn't be in the nature of this painting. So it's still quite free form, just not quite as free form as what's going on over here. I've mixed my red and my yellow together with a touch of blue and a little bit of white, and I'm going to use this for the middle of my flowers. And I'm not going to do the middle of all of them. Sometimes it starts looking quite abstract and it's hard to actually see where you actually have put the flowers. I'm just using a lot bluer version of what I used for the stems, so it's just the burnt umber with the ultramarine blue and a little bit of white, and really watered down with my liner brush just to suggest some of the shadows that are going on behind there. So there's our fun little cotton bud painting. I've used a variety of methods on there, inspired by Angela Anderson's cotton bud spring blossoms. Just zoom you in on there so you can see the different colours and things. So just a chance to have a play around and have some fun after all that intensive work that I did yesterday. So I hope you got your paints out and did some painting too. Maybe you could get some unusual things like cotton buds or other things you've got around the place to do something a bit different and see what your paint will do with it. So happy painting everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.